Ryusu is revived, but the scenario against the war against the ancient new people of the Treasure Island, well, may not be so easy as they think, although they are still not discovered, at least I presume they're not. The anger and offended despair viewer, here with the Dr. Stone. Shadow 117. Ryusu thanks Suka and congratulates her about being a full-fledged warrior of the science team. And with this, Ryusu predicts what they're trying to build, and that is a kite, which Senku says no, it's a drone, which of course makes him very the fact that Ryusu guessed it was a kite when it was actually an advance was actually nice. But he concludes that what makes the Kingdom of Science. So they need Kaseki for that. However, the ship has actually now been cranked up with full security, with even Mozu now being there. According to them, they're even calling him the strongest warrior. Well, that sounds dangerous. So Ryusu and Suyus decides to dive into the ocean to try to find them. It's worth noting that they're diving in naked, which is kind of that's so gross. Of course, they cannot dive completely, as they have to dive up again because they are very far. The stones are actually very far beneath everything else. So Senku decides that they need to develop scuba diving techniques in order to do that. But in order to do that, though, they tear apart their lab machine. In the fact that Ashiguro Gen is always saying the fact that why are you doing this so cheerfully? Isn't that a very important machine? But so Senku just justifies says that they don't have time to build things from scratch, so they need to reuse as much as possible. Soyos does show his skill about being able to break apart some things and put it together. And with that, the different teams create different things. Ryusu concludes that the chimney of the science vehicle won't actually hold the pressure. But Senku says that he has tested it and it will join them with and it's surprisingly will work. Suka is in the background doing something else. I don't know if that's food or something else. So Senku concludes it will withstand 100 atmospheric pressures. But Senku has built the rockets before. So they have created a crude air tank. After that they break apart the machine some more, with some planks and everything else. And the fact that, Senku and Ryusu is making the comedic joke that Kaseki can always rebuild it. So all that is left is to fill the tank up with this pump. And of course they will have manpower. So, however, Senku concludes that while it does look easy that he just have to pump it over and over again, they have to just keep on pumping it until it's until it's immense, so to speak. So they keep pumping it throughout the night. 10 atmospheric pressure, 50 atmospheric pressure, and I actually says it seems to be getting heavier and heavier the more they press it. It's even created a comedic scene where it seems like they are being stretched out, or maybe they are being stretched out. It's just I'm not really sure what I see about that comedic scene. So Suka stores up the air, the heat, and the tank's gonna heat up like crazy and will explode and pour water into it. So they pump it in for 5 hours, and 10 hours later it explodes. And according to Senku, this is enough, as they have now created oxygen tanks. With this time some little bit more pants, although just a little bit. Soyuz and Ryusu dives down. It's worth noting though that they are passing the boat and the people are looking down. So why do I have the strange suspicions that they actually have seen them? Well, no. However, despite all of their work about working 10 hours and stuff like that, unfortunately they can only create air for 10 minutes. So if they fail this, it's everything else. But then Soyuz once again shows his immense remembering thing. Even the fact he even shows some minor sign language underwater, which divers have been used in real life for a long time. And once again, Ryusu is very impressed with the fact that he can remember everything. I'm just saying, Soyuz is not normal. He can remember almost anything. And he still is not so relevant in this story arc, which makes me very angry. There must be a reason why he is such good to remembered. He must be something. Or is that just meant to be his quirk to set him aside of everything else? So either way, they dive down into a big ocean, and there finds a reef with a gap in it, and there they find the missing pieces of their comrades. So so they will be safe there for now, but for now they need to, but they cannot take everyone else, especially since they only can breathe for 10 minutes. So they found everyone, and they also find Kaseki, which they are gonna take up to the surface. They're gonna, as the Ryusu concludes that the fated battle 3,700 years ago was their loss. Now they're standing before the petrification ray. Before they were powerless and watched as their people were wiped out. But now it's their turn for the Kingdom of Science to counterattack. So again, I don't know how they're going to get the others. After all, they said they could only be underneath for 10 minutes, but I guess they're not going to be able to save everyone else immediately. Meaning that they will save them all when they have liberated this island and then created real scuba diving outfits that really will make them stay underneath a little bit longer. I guess that's how it is. So yeah, just a setup chapter creating an oxygen tank, but also showing that despite some very hard works, when they are using it will be very, very low. But this once again showed that Soyuz has an incredible memory, almost like a photographic memory. He can remember anything, even when he was a toddler. Or maybe not everything, but he can remember things even when he was a toddler. There must be a reason for that. And I'm not just saying that maybe that is his quirk, he is just talented like that. Yeah, that is one way to look at it also. But I'm wondering if he is guided by fate of somehow, being more important than this all. Either way, they found Kaseki. They may be able to take him up to the surface. But what it says after that, well, we don't know. Does Ibara and Mosu really know that they were not underwater? I mean, they've cranked up security, so Ibara, even though everyone smashed the Ryusu statue, Ibara still believes that there is an intruder, which there are, but he still believes it. They haven't won yet, but the counterattack against the war begins, although technically I already said it begins now. One wonders what will happen next. Give me your thoughts if you have any.